guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Chelsea and I'm a mama to 5. I homeschool, and yeah, so I share a lot about homeschooling, just motherhood, daily life vlogs, food vlogs, all those things. And I get some questions about different things, and lately I've gotten some questions about homeschooling, and I've gotten some questions just about what grades my kids are in and how my oldest 2 are in the same grade and things like that. So I thought I would take the time today to sit down and tell you how and why we started homeschooling. So I started homeschooling when my oldest had finished kindergarten at a public school. Not a lot of people know that my oldest went to public school, but she did. She went to public school for pre-K and kindergarten. I should mention that she is now 12. So I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and our youngest will turn 4 in a couple of weeks. So my oldest at 4, she went to pre-K. I had no intentions of homeschooling. I was just all for whatever the system was. That's what we did. I went along with it. And I put her in pre-K. Even though I wasn't a big believer in pre-K, I thought that it was just kind of like daycare, and she had never been to daycare. I've always stayed at home with them since my firstborn, so I didn't really see the point. But where I live, they don't have a half-day kindergarten, and I knew since she had never been away from me that she might have a hard time with it, and so I didn't want to send her away for a full day right away. I wanted her to ease into it. So I went ahead and I signed her up for pre-K when she was 4, and she actually had no issues with it. She was fine. She was like, "Bye mom, see you later." She did great in school. I did not have any issues with it. Nothing bugged me. Some of the things later on, once I started homeschooling, I realized would bug me, but at the time I didn't know that they would bug me in ways of teaching. So anyway, she went to pre-K. That was great. She went to kindergarten. That was great. It was all fine. So how did we start homeschooling? Why did we come to that decision when it was not even a thought in my mind? Well, my oldest, who is 12, my second oldest, who is 10, they are only 18 months apart. And so when my oldest, Melissa, went off to school, my second daughter, Natalie, really wanted to go to school, but she could not go, obviously. And age-wise, they should just be a grade between, but because her birthday was like right past the cutoff, they were going to be 2 grades between. So she couldn't go to pre-K, and then she couldn't go to kindergarten. Or, you know, when Melissa went to kindergarten, Natalie also couldn't even start pre-K because her birthday was right after the cutoff, like a week. And she was just like so sad and so disappointed when Melissa started kindergarten that to cheer her up, I was like, hey, it's okay. We can do everything that Melissa does at home. And I was doing this just to play and make her feel like a part also. So we went and we got, you know, just little Walmart and Dollar Tree and stuff like school books. And I got a lot of learning manipulatives, and I printed off a lot of things, and we played a lot of games. And Natalie was also she's my second oldest, so she was the one who couldn't go to school. She was a very high maintenance child. She needed a lot of attention all the time, and she had been that way since she was a baby. She was just very free-spirited and high maintenance, we will call her. And I realized when we started doing school that this really helped, that if I was sitting down and like solely focusing on her for a couple of hours, the rest of the day she was easy as pie. And at the time, besides her, I just had Liam, and he was just a little tot running around, and he did just fine. So not only did I realize this was helping Natalie behavior-wise, but it was also helping her academically. She was 3, and I realize that sounds young, but she was 3, almost 4 when we started, and oh my goodness, she just zoomed off. By the time we started when she was 3, and like a month and a half later she was turning 4, and I mean, by that time she was done with all the pre-K material in a month or 2. I'm not joking. All the colors and letters and numbers, and just soaked it up. And pretty soon, before Melissa was even halfway done with kindergarten, I realized that Natalie was kind of surpassing her. She had already learned everything for pre-K, and she was surpassing all the things being taught in kindergarten. And I realized this is not always the case in homeschooling. Trust me, I came to that the hard way. but I know it's not. But for her it was. So in my mind I was, one, realizing how much this was helping Natalie in so many ways, not just academically. And it was also so much fun. Like, I did not know I would enjoy it so much. I loved just looking at curriculum. I loved reading with her and playing with all the manipulatives with her and just taking the time to figure out how she learned, and all that interests me so much. I had so much fun doing it that when Melissa had, I think she had a month or two left of kindergarten, I had decided, I prayed about it a lot, and I had asked Melissa, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and homeschool Natalie next year. Do you want to? And she was like, yeah, you know, sure, that sounds good. And of course, once I decided, she still had a month left of kindergarten, and I let her finish it. And then once I made the decision, I got really scared because I thought, what am I thinking? Yeah, I've taught this kid certain things, and she was even reading. I mean, this girl was just flying, Natalie was. She was reading like chapter books by the time she was 5. She had it going on. But I got real scared, and so I had to stop and I had to pray a whole bunch, and I almost changed my mind. I also found out we were expecting our 4th baby in that summertime between kindergarten and when we were going to start 1st grade. And at that time, Natalie was ready for 1st grade also. And she was not yet 5 when she started 1st grade. So, but yeah, I got real scared and real nervous, and one of those, like, what am I thinking? Why would I think I can do this? Especially, it's not just going to be Natalie and like pre-K kindergarten stuff. It's going to be Melissa and Natalie. It's going to be 1st grade stuff, which seems silly now to be nervous about that, but I really was. And I had to pray and pray. And I remember all that summer being so nervous, and then I had almost changed my mind, but I just kept feeling, I remember I'd wake up in the morning and I would just kind of hear like homeschool. And I feel like it was God like pushing me, like giving me a little pat, like, it's okay, you can do this, you've got this, this is where I'm calling you, so go down this road and I've got you. So that is how we started. And I got on Amazon, and that's where I ordered all my curriculum that first year. I wasted a lot of money. It was back before I knew my teaching style and my kids' learning styles. I just kind of jumped in. I read lots of blogs and things like that, but I feel like it's one of those you have to learn from experience. You can't just read other people's experiences. So I ordered a bunch of box curriculum, and I realized that we didn't like it very much, but they were still learning and everything was going okay. We switched curriculum mid-year, and it's just been a learning experience really since then. It took a couple of years. Nothing bad, it wasn't bad, it just took a while to really learn how I like to teach and how I like to assist my children in learning and how they learned best. So it took, I would say, we did 1st grade at home, and we learned, you know, when we switched, because I was doing some public school textbook type things, and I thought, this is silly, that defeats the purpose. So our 2nd grade year, I still did some boxed type curriculum, and I figured out that's not the thing. So halfway in our 2nd year is when I really took the time to realize that we can learn and teach and grow and do all that the way that fits us best. We don't have to fit into a box. We don't have to do things the way other people do it. And I became a lot more relaxed. And so I thought, you know, there were some things, like I was saying, that I didn't realize frustrated me about public school until I started homeschooling Melissa. And it was just certain ways that she was taught, especially in reading. We had to backtrack, and she became very frustrated. They had really just taught her word memorization and not how to read. And because Natalie had been taught from the go how to sound words out phonetically, she was surpassing Melissa, and it was a frustrating time for them, but I think it helped them a lot in their relationship to learn that very early on that one has strengths that the other might not, and vice versa, and to help each other out. So that was helpful for them, and they still have things like that today, where sometimes Melissa needs to help Natalie in a subject, but sometimes Natalie's helping Melissa in a subject. So that is how they're in the same grade, though, because I've had that question. So it was just that I started Natalie at home, and she soaked it up, and that is just her, that's her personality. So I'm not saying it's going to be that way for every child, because I can tell you with my son, with Liam, when we decided to do pre-K with him, he was very reluctant. He did not soak up anything. I could tell him for 30 minutes that E says eh, and 2 seconds later he would not know, and it took a long time, and it was about the time that I relaxed and quit pushing him that he slowly started to grasp it. And I considered for a little bit putting him into public school, because I had that thought of, I just got lucky teaching Natalie how to read and things like that, and I can't do it a second time, even though I kind of did teach Lissa how to read too, but she had a little bit of background there. But no, we slowed down, and I slowed down a lot. He had a very, very easy pre-K kindergarten year. He actually did kindergarten about a year and a half, and that's fine. He is 8, and he is just in all kinds of grades. He's doing 4th grade math, and he's just starting 2nd grade reading, and he's in there with 1st to 2nd in writing. So he's kind of all over the place. But boy, he is smart, and he listens. And when we do history and science all together, and when we do those things, he is listening so well. He doesn't seem like it. He is off playing with Legos, but when it's time to answer the questions, he's got them. He's got them covered. He knows it all. And then we had Violet come along, and she was one of those, she was like Natalie. So at 3, she was like, or even before 3, she was kind of born and just ready to go. Like, I've got big siblings to play with, Mom, I'll see you later. And she's just always like been a part of the pack, we'll say. Like, she didn't have any interest in being a baby ever. So at 2 or 3, she was up at the table when we were doing school, just trying to write and do all kinds of things. So she is 5, and she's finishing up 1st grade. So she's very similar to Natalie. Natalie was a better reader, and I think it was just because Natalie had the interest in it. Natalie wanted to. Violet can read, which is not her favorite thing to do. So, and now we have Aria, who is, like I said, about to turn 4, and she does enjoy some of her little Dollar Tree type workbooks, but she just scribbles in them. She has no interest no care if she's doing it right or wrong. She has no interest in reading anything. But she is, she listens. She sits with us when we read and when we do school. And I would say she's about to be 4, and she probably has a good pre-K foundation in there. I'm not going to push pre-K or kindergarten on her real hard this year, but we are going to do a little bit more of a structured thing with her this coming school year. Not too hard, because I learned my lesson with Liam that it's very evident when a child is ready for school. They will definitely let you know. You just have to kind of relax and let them show you when they're ready, because if you push it ahead of time, you are really just wasting your time. It's not going to soak in until it's ready to soak in, and you are going to hurt the relationship between you and your child just a little bit. I know that once I relaxed and I just played with Liam and we learned fun, silly ways instead of more of a structured way, and I really just let him be him instead of putting my expectations on him, we started kind of healing that. We just had I felt like he thought I was disappointed in him a lot. And it wasn't that I was disappointed in him, I was disappointed in myself, but I think that came off to him as a disappointment in him as well. And so it took probably about a year just to kind of heal that. And so that's why, like with Aria, if she's not that interested, you know what, she's just about to turn 4, it's gonna be okay. She'll get interested. But yeah, that is how we started homeschooling. So let's see, my 2 oldest now are in 7th, and Liam, like I said, is all over the place. Violet is finishing up 1st, and we're gonna do a real slow into 2nd, because I'm not gonna push and push. She's 5, but so this is our 7th. Well, I guess it'd be our 8th year, because Natalie did pre-K and kindergarten in 1 year at home. So this would be my 8th year all together with them, and it has been a lovely ride. I'm not gonna say it's always the easiest. I remember there were days, especially when I just had Violet and then I had Aria 18 months later, that I would see that big yellow bus drive past my house and think, oh, please stop and get them, I need to take a nap. But the way we do school now is very much more relaxed, and I do think I will sit down in a different video, so this is not too long, and share just some tips and sanity savers and things like that on how to homeschool with a newborn and toddlers running around, because I understand from experience that that is not easy, it is hard, and you can feel like a failure if you let your mindset go that way. So anyway, I hope that answers some questions on how we started homeschooling. We are in Oklahoma, by the way, and our homeschool laws are very relaxed. We don't have to keep records or anything, even though I do. If you watch my videos, you know I'm a planner. I like to check things off. I keep any work for a year afterwards, and then I will get rid of that and keep the next year's work just to say we have it. And then I keep certain special little things, pictures and writing assignments and things like that. But yeah, that is how we started homeschooling. I had a kid who was sad she couldn't go to school with her sister and I felt like God was pushing me that way, and so we just took the leap. And I was very lucky, and I had a very supportive husband, and a very supportive mom who had actually homeschooled both of my brothers at different points in their life, and then another supportive family too. Of course, you always get certain routine homeschool questions. All you guys know what those are, so I won't even go into that, but you just handle them, you answer them the best you can, and you keep faith in that you know this is what God is calling you to do. And so obviously you're equipped to do it, and your life is going to work out in that path He has led for you, that He has paved out. You just got to follow it. So yes, that is how we started homeschooling. I'd love to hear how you guys got started homeschooling. Maybe it was your plan from the beginning. Maybe you felt you had to for certain reasons in your public school system or in your district. Maybe you had to for certain reasons for your child. Maybe they were having issues in school, whether it was academically, bullying, or whatnot. I'd love to hear that. It's great to connect with other homeschool moms because it's just, we're a big community. And if you don't homeschool, you don't really realize how many homeschool families there are all around the world, especially here in the US. So yes, I would love to hear your homeschool stories down in the comments below. But that's all for right now. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.